October 16th, 2025. Coffee and Donuts with Skip Moen. Another Beatitude by Skip Moen, August 29th, 2025. But when you make a banquet, call the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. And then you will be blessed, for they have nothing to repay you. That's Luke chapter 14, verses 13 and 14 from the NASB 1995. Blessed. All of the Beatitudes found in Matthew 5 and Luke 6 begin with the Greek word makarios. It's the signal for a blessing formula. Of course, this signal is used in many other more places in the apostolic writings. But Yeshua did not teach in Greek. He used Hebrew. And the Aramaic Hebrew equivalent of this Greek word is asre. We know this for certain because in Matthew 5:5, blessed are the meek, Yeshua quotes from Psalm 37:11, where the Hebrew word is asre. But why does this matter? Because there's another Hebrew word for blessing, barak. But barak is the blessing we receive from God, granted by His sovereign decision, independent of anything we do. Asre is a blessing that comes through our own actions. In other words, if you want to experience a state of bliss, it's the real meaning of asre, then you'll have to do something. This state of bliss does not wait for God's unmotivated favor. I can bring about this blessedness by simply following the formula. Do you realize just how important this is? In many religious circles today, believers expect God to grant them blessings because they have performed certain acts. They tithe, expect reward. They pray, expect healing. They worship, expect favor. But they're using the wrong verb. God's blessing, barak, does not depend on anything that I do. It is His choice alone. If I want to experience a state of bliss, asre, I don't need to wait for God to grant me His grace. He's already done that. What I need to do is follow God's perfect plan for blessedness. And in this verse, Jesus tells us one of the many ways to experience asre. Here it is. Show compassion and favor to those who cannot repay you. That's the problem, isn't it? We want God to operate under the following formula. My good deeds equal blessing through God's repayment. But God tells us asre, not barak, is the only quid pro quo in the universe. See, the real formula is my acts of compassion, well, those equal blessing when no one repays. Do you want to be blessed? Then serve those who cannot repay you. Give them favor and grace and gifts because they cannot pay you back. That's God's way. Can you repay Him for what He has done? Never. So be like God. Find someone who cannot pay you back. Shower that person with grace. God will smile. I like where Skip takes us here. Although in my own semantic way, I bristle the idea of formulas. It's causing me to think that I can do this whether God is involved or not. I'm not so sure. Yet, that's the baggage I bring. But again, that teaching from the Messiah, we call it the Sermon on the Mount, right? I chuckle every time I think of that because He never named it that. We just gave it that name, although I have to admit, I kind of like it because I get to tie it to the other mountain, Mount Sinai. But these Beatitudes are prevalent. We love to read about them. However, I'm not sure we like to live them. At times, we even try to work around words to make them fit what we like them to be in our lives. However, I tend to agree with Skip that these things are compassion without expectation. Because in our world today, so much that we do has an ROI to it, that return on investment. We hear that in things like the prosperity gospel, or just those things we expect things because. And yet here, Skip challenges us with God's upside down thinking. There might be nothing in it for you, at least right now. Yet it seems like God, in the end, he really does balance the scales. We tend to think that when we hear that, we go to the negative side. It's our propensity to focus on the negative. Yet I'm just as compelled that it's even more important to focus on the positive side. God will take care of it. I appreciate where Skip took us at the end, because it's something we've been designed to be a part of, encouraged by God to be a part of. We are His creations. We are His representatives. We are His examples. And often we are those eyes, ears, hands, feet, maybe mouths. We have the opportunity to act on God's behalf. Be like God. I suppose the real question is whether we're genuinely willing to do so and expect nothing in return. Well, thank you for listening. This is Bob Wern from the Dusty Feet.